Hi, my name is Angela, and I am 23 years old. You are about to hear the story of how my father left me and my family at our worst, and how I paid him back for this after growing up. The path was not smooth, though, because along the way, not only were there obstacles, but also my possible love interest. I won't spoil everything for you now, so let's just dive into the story. So, my father was a rich CEO of a multinational company. We were a happy family, or so I thought. When I was about 2 years old, Dad divorced Mom because apparently Mom had nothing good to offer to him. This was all happening suddenly because he had met another rich CEO woman of whom he wanted to merge his company to increase his profits. In other words, money mattered more to him than his wife and daughter. My mom had not received any formal education, hence she couldn't get a job. She resorted to manual labor and earned minimum wages to keep us alive. I was very young, so I don't really remember much, but I do know for a fact that my mom really went through a lot. If it was not for her, I wouldn't have been standing here today. Poverty and starvation would have caught up to me long ago. The terrible reality was that to take care of me, Mom ignored her own health and her own needs. Many times, she went without eating just so I was well fed. I had no idea that she was suffering to do all this for me. She was severely ill, yet she ignored it and kept working and doing things for me, from sending me to school to providing me with all kinds of resources. It was only by the time I was in college that I found out about Mom's illness. Her health had visibly deteriorated and she had to be hospitalized. The doctors declared that they could do nothing to save her now, since she had been careless about it for too long and made it worse, and within a few months, Mom left me forever. The day my mom left me was the day when I cried for the second time in my life. The first time was when I was 2 and saw Dad leaving with another woman. After my mom's death, I came to realize all the suffering she had to go through to raise me up. Meanwhile, my dad was living a luxurious, comfortable life. It was all his fault. He married my mom, making her false promises of forever and all that crap, and he left her as soon as he found some rich person who could add to his wealth. I was disgusted to be related to such a man. It was a good thing that he had left us, but the fact that he didn't once turn back to look at us to make sure we were okay made me mad with rage. I decided that I had had enough. I was not going to let that sorry excuse of a man get away easily when Mom had to suffer so much because of him. I was going to make him pay for his actions and show him how wrong he was. I did my research and my studies for the remaining years of my college. As soon as I graduated, the first thing I did was apply for a job at my father's company. I had spent my good time researching on his company and how I could increase my odds of getting the job, so when I received the call with the job offer, I wasn't really surprised. It was all going according to my plan. On my first day of the office, I met the person who was my so-called father. I was using my mom's last name, so he didn't even recognize me. And, well, he had left when I was 2, so there was no freaking chance of him recognizing me just by my facial features. And to be honest, he didn't even care, I guess. He was more interested in measuring me from head to toe and giving me a suggestive smirk. My skin crawled with disgust. Now I was really ashamed to be related to him. Anyway, so I was assigned my desk and stuff, and I was meeting my colleagues when suddenly I received the biggest shock of my life. I gaped at one of my supposed colleagues, who was a guy I knew all too well. He seemed to recognize me too because his eyes widened. "Angelina, is that you?" he exclaimed. "Matt?" I asked in confirmation. He nodded. Who knew I would meet my high school crush again under such circumstances? "You work here?" I asked awkwardly. "I didn't know." "Yeah," he scratched his neck. "I joined a few months ago. It's good to see you again, though. I was pretty upset over losing touch with you after high school." Let's just say Matt and I had a lot of catching up to do, and we certainly didn't waste any time. We became really close friends within a matter of a few weeks and always hung out together. Everyone at the office knew that we were old friends, except one person, of course. My boss, aka my dad, seemed to have a problem with me spending so much time with Matt. I don't know what his problem was, but on multiple occasions, He was out for some meeting with a foreign client, and the rest of the team from my department had accompanied him. I was the only one who had remained behind under pretense of work here. It was the perfect opportunity for me to sneak into his office and collect some necessary information that I needed in order to bring him down. I looked through his drawers, and at last I found a file that was crucial to the company and contained his upcoming plans and strategies. I was about to take pictures of the papers in the file when I heard chatter and noises coming through the door. Crap! I thought they were here! I wanted to get out of there, but it was difficult considering the fact that they were already inside and would see me anyway, so I had no other option but to hide under the desk in my dad's cabin. I heard footsteps coming inside and saw that Dad had entered the cabin and was now sitting in his chair. I heard him calling someone. A few seconds later, another pair of shoes entered the cabin. "You called me, sir?" Matt's voice asked. I covered my mouth with my hand as to not make any kind of noise. "Yes, I have to talk to you about an important matter," Dad's voice replied. "Yes, sir, please go ahead," Matt said politely. "It's about Angelina." I swear I almost screamed when I heard my name. What did he want from me? Why was he talking to Matt about me? "You need to freaking stay away from her," Dad said sternly, and the table shook from the impact of his hands. "How many times do I have to tell you this?" "Excuse me, sir?" Matt answered in a calm voice. "Angelina is my friend. I like spending time with her. Why do I need to stay away? What's this about?" "I like her, okay?" Dad finally admitted with a grumble. "And you are coming in my way." I was on the verge of collapsing. My own dad, aka my boss, was crushing on me? Ew! What the heck? "Sorry to say this, but Angelina is almost half of your age," Matt said in disbelief. "She is like your daughter, not someone you can have a crush on. Your feelings are pretty messed up, and not to mention, you are already married. How can you even think about other women?" "That's none of your business," Dad replied. "Just keep my words in mind. You can take your leave now." It was the most horrible day of my life. Not only was I hearing disgusting things from my dad, but also I was stuck under his desk for the whole day. My phone was on silent and it kept going off with calls and notifications that I couldn't answer. Some of them were from Matt, who was probably worried about me since I had disappeared without notice. By the end of the day, when everyone, including my dad, finally left, I was able to get out from under the desk and leave the office. What a horrible day it was. The next day, I didn't even want to see my dad's face. Everything about him disgusted me to no end. I had met up with Matt before coming to the office. I told him everything about the day before and that I had heard all the things Dad had said. He was pretty shocked, but he recovered quickly and said that he was going to tell me anyway. I also realized that I could trust Matt. He hated my dad as much as I did, if not more. I told him everything about my motives of joining the company and about how the boss was actually my so-called dad. This time, he was stunned. He actually didn't believe me at first and thought that I was kidding, but when he saw my serious face, he finally came around. I explained everything to him once again and why it was important for me to bring my dad down. And guess what? Matt said that he was going to help me because, well, he was not a big fan of my dad either, so pretty favorable for me, huh? Anyway, so Matt and I made a plan, a very elaborate plan of how we will proceed to take over my dad's company. And apart from that, we also had to expose him in front of his wife. He was definitely gonna pay for everything he did, and I was more confident now because I had Matt by my side. We got lucky amidst all this because the department had partnered Matt and me together for a business project. We had to go on a trip for this project, to another state. I guess my dad had no idea about this, otherwise he would never have allowed it. There was one more thing about the trip. You remember how I told you that Matt used to be my high school crush? Well, the feelings were still there, and now I had a perfect opportunity to get closer to Matt and confess to him. This business trip was everything I could have asked for. Or not. All my hopes and plans were shattered when Matt and I reached the hotel. I was taken aback when a girl entered through the hotel gates and rushed to Matt to give him a tight hug. "Oh gosh, Matt, I missed you so much," she said. Matt gave her a soft smile. "I missed you too." Then he turned to me. "Angelina, meet my girlfriend Vanessa. And Vanessa, Meet Angelina. She is my colleague and high school friend." I smiled politely at Vanessa, even though my heart was breaking into a million pieces on the inside. "Nice to meet you, Vanessa." "I hope it won't be a problem that I invited Vanessa," Matt said to me. "I was so busy with work that I couldn't spend much time with her. That's why I invited her on this trip, so that we could enjoy during free time." Sure, I have no problem," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I hope you two can spend quality time together." Then I turned around and went to my room. I knew for a fact that Matt and Vanessa were going to stay in the same room, and I couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. Just when I thought that I had a chance with Matt, he had to reveal his girlfriend. I mean, couldn't he have told me sooner? At least it would have saved me the heartbreak. But thank goodness I got to know everything before I confessed to him, otherwise it would have been an even worse situation. I sighed at my tragic life and went to bed. The next morning, Matt and I had several meetings to attend. We were done by evening, and when we returned back to the hotel, Vanessa was waiting for us. Or should I say, she was waiting for Matt. "Thank goodness your meetings are over now," she said, grabbing Matt's arm. "I have made a reservation at a restaurant. Let's go and have dinner." "Sure," Matt replied, and then turned to me. "Angelina, would you like to join us?" My first instinct was to glance at Vanessa, and sure enough, she didn't look too happy with this. I didn't blame her. I wouldn't have been happy either if my boyfriend invited some other girl while on a date, and I had no intentions of being a third wheeler anyway, so I refused. "Come on, don't be like that," Matt started insisting. "What are you going to do here alone? Join us, come." Before I could protest any further, he grabbed my hand and started dragging me. Well, what can I say? Some things were out of my control. The whole night, Vanessa kept glaring at me steadily, while Matt was completely oblivious, behaving like his usual self. It was a hella awkward dinner. I was relieved when it was over. The next few days were torturous, to say the least. I still had feelings for Matt, even though he had a girlfriend. And Matt, on the other hand, was confusing me. He acted as if he were closer to me than his own girlfriend. And it didn't help that Vanessa thought I was the villain. I had no idea that things were about to take a turn for the worse. A few days into the trip, we received the news that there was some kind of problem, because of which all the flights and public transportations were canceled. Everyone was stuck wherever they were, meaning that Matt and I were stuck in the hotel. Our flights had been canceled too. There was no other option. I was really dejected because I was so not looking forward to spending time with my crush and his girlfriend. Matt came to my room one morning, taking me by surprise. "I wanted to talk to you about something," he started. "We don't know when we will be able to get out of here, so why not utilize our time? The thing you told me about your dad is still on my mind." My eyes widened when I heard that. Amidst Matt and Vanessa, I had completely forgotten about my dad and the company thing. "I was thinking that we could start our own online company during this time," Matt continued. "What? Our own company? Are you sure?" I asked in disbelief. "Company is such a huge thing. We will need investments and all." "It's not like we have anything to lose, Angelina," Matt replied. "And don't worry about investments. We can get good investors if we're able to pitch our idea." "Wow, seems like you are prepared," I remarked. He nodded, smiling. "I told you I will help you, didn't I? Now is the perfect time for that." So the first thing Matt and I did was go through all the important documents and stuff to find a loophole about Dad's company. We were going to learn lessons from his mistakes and use his weaknesses as our strength, and we surely found it soon enough. It was not that difficult, considering we had all the inside info on Dad's company. We could always be one step ahead of him and offer better deals to our customers. The 30 days that we were stuck in the hotel was a very crucial period for us. We started a company during that, which I never thought was possible, and our plan was running very smoothly. Soon, our company was not just a company. It was a giant, while Dad's company just kept going down in the market. But this was not the only reason why those 30 days were important. There was something else, too. Since Matt and I were working together on our company, we used to spend most of the time together locked up in my room. Now, imagine how Vanessa felt because of this. She was here to spend time with her boyfriend, who was now busy working once again. I felt kinda bad for her. But for me, work was the first priority and seemed like it was the same for Matt. One day, Matt and I were on a very important conference call with our investors when all of a sudden the door to my room slammed open and Vanessa barged in. Can you believe she had interrupted an important work call? Matt gestured for her to leave, but she stayed rooted to her spot. You always ask me to leave, Matt, she said, crossing her arms. Today, I won't leave. Is work more important to you than me? That was my cue to apologize to the investors and end the call. It was so humiliating. Vanessa, are you out of your mind? Matt yelled as soon as I cut the call. You created a scene in front of our important business partners. Do you have no sense? You left me with no other choice, Vanessa fumed. All day long, you keep working and leave me alone. You come back exhausted at night and go to sleep without even talking to me. Do you know how I feel? I can't really deal with this right now, Matt said, clutching his head. Please leave me alone for a few hours. And with that, he left the room. Vanessa and I were left alone in the room now. Her eyes were burning with hatred for me. This is all happening because of you, she spat. Are you happy now? Look, Vanessa, I started calmly. Don't get the wrong idea. If Matt didn't love you, he would have never called you here, and you know very well that we are only friends, nothing more. However, what you did today was really immature and childish. You just fell in Matt's eyes. It was your own fault. She let out a frustrated noise and left. I rolled my eyes at her antics. I used to feel bad for her, but now she was just being plain annoying. The next day, unsurprisingly, I heard about Matt and Vanessa's breakup. Vanessa had now moved her stuff to a different room in the hotel. Matt seemed genuinely sad, and I didn't know what to do to comfort him. Do you think I am at fault, Angelina? He asked me one day. I don't know, I replied honestly. I can't say for sure until I know both sides of the story. He sighed. I want to be honest with you. Instead of spending time with Vanessa, I prefer working. I don't know. I used to like her a lot, but recently it felt like I had fallen out of love with her. Then it's good that you got out of it before any more damage could happen, I said in assurance. After that, we started working hard on the company again, and as I already told you, within those 30 days, the company took a huge leap, which was a matter of great joy for us. Meanwhile, Dad's company had taken a big hit because of the closed businesses. He didn't even realize what was happening. He was too focused with hitting on younger women and neglecting his wife. I won't go into many details, but there came a day when his company went bankrupt, and this was the moment I was waiting for. He had no other option but to sell his company. And guess who was the highest bidder? Me, duh. I was now capable enough to take over his company exactly as I had planned. When he found out that I, aka his ex-employee, had bought his company, he didn't waste any time in contacting me. And this was the moment that I had been waiting for, to expose him in front of his wife. He wanted to meet me, so I called him to a restaurant. I also called his wife with a lot of false excuses. I can't believe that I used to have feelings for a girl like you, were his first words as soon as he saw me. You had been planning this all along? I always thought you were suspicious. Guess who was watching this drama unfold from a different table? Yep, his wife, whom I had somehow convinced to stay and watch. I am sorry, Dad, I smiled. It was not my intention to upset you. The look on his face was priceless. He was obviously taken aback at being called Dad by me. He stood there in silence for a few moments, scanning my face, before finally putting 2 and 2 together. Angelina? He stuttered. I stood up from my seat and gave him a sarcastic smile. You deserve a prize for finally getting it right, Dad. Yes, I am Angelina, your freaking daughter whom you abandoned years ago without a single thought. He was about to open his mouth and say something, but was stopped when his wife finally walked up to him and slapped him. I can't believe you would fall so low. You told me that you had no children from your previous marriage. And what is this I am hearing about flirting with other women? Shame on you. I will send my lawyer with the divorce papers. Don't bother contacting me again. She spat at him and left. I gave him one last disgusted look before leaving as well. I had accomplished my mission now. I had given him a taste of his own medicine. He was in for a lifetime of suffering now. The best thing was that, in all of this, I had found the person I loved. I could trust and depend on. You probably already know. I am talking about Matt. We are dating now. Matt needed some time to get over Vanessa, after which he confessed that he liked spending time with me and had feelings for me. I didn't waste any time in telling him about my feelings, and thus we started going out. Everything is good in my life now, except for the fact that I miss my mom a lot. And sometimes I think about Dad too, wondering if I should have tried to make up with him instead of taking revenge on him. What do you think? Did I do the right thing? He's tried to contact me a few times to make things up and reunite, but I feel disgusted every time I think about him. Does he deserve a second chance?